Okay, then we'll go with the N STEMI now. As we just discussed about all the STEMI things, in STEMI what we have is this is the P wave, something like your QRS, and you have a ST elevation, then you have got a T wave, something like this is ST elevation. The same now for N STEMI goes like whatever the P wave it comes like this, then your QRS something like you have a ST depression and then goes. So this is the depression which we have now. So this will go for your N STEMI. So we'll see some things like some basics and some differences between your other causes of your T wave inversion, ST depressions, and how it will be confusing with N STEMI. Many things will cause ST depressions. Okay. See here. Now this is the cause of your left ventricular hypertrophy due to your LVH. Okay. LVH. Yesterday we discussed. See, we have got a tall T waves here. This is having some amount of ST depression here. See, this is also having ST depression here. T wave inversions are there. Okay. Look at the pattern how this T wave inversion and ST depression are. We'll go for next one. Okay. This is the one which you are going to confuse usually with your N STEMI. Remember this pattern, we will come to N STEMI and then we'll remember how the N STEMI differs from your LVH hypertensive strain patterns. So actually this ST depression is also due to ischemia only. Okay. It is not due to something else, but we will not call it as N STEMI. Then something I think the slides have been exchanged. Something we should like something which is very similar to STEMI only. See these waves you see here V1, V2, V3. You are having ST elevations, okay, which mimics STEMI, okay, mimics the STEMI, but this is not a ST elevation. We have something called as Brugada syndrome where there is abnormality in V1, V2, V3, and that appears to be something like RBBB like pattern will be there. See, if you just observe this, it comes like something M like. Okay. So this is called as Brugada syndrome. They are known to have arrhythmias and they are having sudden cardiac death. This is just like MCQ like question for you, nothing like it is very rare phenomena to see. So don't always label something which comes like this as Brugada syndrome. It will usually be V1 to V3 only it will be there. RBBB like pattern will be there. Family history of sudden cardiac death will be there and no cardiac chest pain, angina type of chest pain is not there. And this is one more thing which you should remember here. See here, there is ST elevation in 1, 2, and some amount of ST in 3. AVF also is having elevation V1, V2, V3, okay, V6, V5. All elevations are there. There is no reciprocal changes are there. No reciprocal changes. This goes in favor of pericarditis. And this ECG is not very clear. Pericarditis will have something called as PR segment depression. Wait, I think I can show you in one here. Can you appreciate in this one? This block of ECG, Chota one V4 round. Here PR segment is having slight depression is there. Can anyone appreciate from P and R? So whatever happening here is this P and then R segment it's slight depression, then you have elevation like this. So this is a PR segment which is depressed here. So PR segment depression, ST segment elevation, no reciprocal changes. So all this goes in favor of pericarditis. LV aneurysm. This is also one more thing. Okay, if there is a persistent LV like ST elevations are there. Okay, after MI has occurred. Okay, after many days till many days, if there are ST elevation somewhere, then it could be a possibility that there is right ventricular MI or left ventricular MI aneurysm which has formed because of the weakening of the valve due to ischemia. There is a bulge or aneurysm which has formed. That will be reflected as persistent ST elevation in case of ECGs. This one also, it is like something like your STEMI, it mimics the STEMI like. Okay, you should be careful here. Sir, if PR segment depressed, what will be the baseline, sir? See, we have got one more thing. No? After T wave, till the next P wave, we have something on segment. No? That also will be there. From T wave to next P wave, we have one more segment. No? That will be normal. That one Q wave, I think that was exchanged. Slides were exchanged a little bit. Q wave. So Q wave in V1 to V3. That time we told no Q wave MI. Instead of like V1 to V3, if there are Q waves regardless of the size or duration, then it is called Q wave MI, or it is also equivalent to STEMI. Q wave in 2 and AVF of 0.3 seconds duration and 1 mm deep are also inferior wall MI only. That is STEMI again. Lateral wall MI is Q waves of 0.03 seconds in 1 AVL or in V5 and V6 or in all 4 leads are in pathologic and consistent with lateral wall MI. So if you want to take the screenshot of this, this is the criteria for your Q wave MI or STEMI. Q wave STEMI. ST elevations will not be prominent, but Q waves will be there. So this is the same one again here. See here I have got Q wave, Q wave, Q wave. Okay, so these are the Q wave MI. The criteria here. Q waves in V1 to V3. When Q waves are present in V1 to V3, they are pathologic regardless of the size and duration. Q waves are present in V1 to V3. They are pathologic irrespective of duration and depth. This is Q wave STEMI. Next, N STEMI. See, this is the T wave difference which we told, right? First is peak T waves from subendocardial ischemia. Okay, this is normal. This is, I told no, symmetrical T wave. That time I told no, it will not be symmetrical like that. It usually T wave normally goes up like this and then suddenly comes down. So there is asymmetry in the normal T wave. So it is symmetrical. Then classical T wave in, this is STEMI. This is early STEMI, hyperacute T waves. Here also we have, okay, this is also due to transmural ischemia, but it is half the size. Okay. Then these are biphasic T waves are there. Then low flat, it could be like late stages of MI. Late stages of MI like isoelectric, because after many days or many hours, it could be like this. So these are the different types of T waves which we get here. In case of STEMI and N-STEMI, which you should be able to differentiate. This is one more something, deep symmetrical T waves are there. Okay. What are the differential diagnosis for this now? One is, it is like post-STEMI after many days, or it is like post-thrombolysis, or post-percutaneous coronary intervention, or it could be due to subarachnoid hemorrhage. Or your CVA. CVA is also caused deep symmetrical T wave inversions in ECG. Exact mechanism not required at your level. Why ECG changes are there in central nervous system abnormalities? We get them. So this is one of the changes which we get. So you should be careful in diagnosing the things. Deep symmetrical T wave inversions are there, and you neglect the CVA, then it is like something you will misdiagnose most of the time. See here, this is N-STEMI now. Okay. See the ECGs here. I think I have put ECG here also. Comparison. See the T wave, how the patterns of T wave inversions are there. Okay. Here, all these you see. See here, ST depressions. Okay. See here. And now you see for the LVH. See this pattern. How the sloping is. See the symmetry, how it is. Look at this one. And then look at this one. This is N-STEMI. They are more of a deep, slightly symmetrical like T wave inversions are there. Whereas this one you see, it is more of a down sloping and then a T wave like this. Whereas those were, this is of N-STEMI. This is of LVH. I think you are able to identify some of the subtle differences that are there. Until and unless you have multiple ECGs seen, you try to correlate the clinically. See, if somebody gives this one to me and they do not give me any history, or you tell about ECG, see, I will see there is a left axis deviation, something here, and I'll count here, this is how much, this is how much, it will make more than 35 small boxes. I'll see there is ST segment depression, and I'll just tell it as LVH with LV strain pattern. Okay, if somebody tells me there is associated sweating and all other things like tachycardia is there, patient is having perspiration and all those things, I am now confused whether I should really take it as N-STEMI. So this is a clinically you have to do a lot of judgment while taking a decision for N-STEMI. These are the controversies here. See here we have one more, cerebrovascular accident, deep T wave inversions. This one you see, and see this now. This is N-STEMI. See the T wave inversions. This is your CVA. See the T wave inversions. Appear nearly same, right? They are very similar. So it is a clinical judgment and your clinical correlation and your ECG which will correlate. So many times, so many of you people will always send me ECG. Sir, tell me what is the finding. It is very difficult to tell without a clinical history. Patient, what is he? Diabetic, non-diabetic, hypertensive? What are the clinical features? What came? What did not come? Amplitude is less in SH. No, that is not a concept. Simple. I'm telling that only. You will not be able to tell any of these based on the amplitude or the depth. Even if the patient is having massive CVA, then it could be more deep symmetrical T wave like this. Very big. So it is always the clinical history and your examination findings, vitals examination. You are so many people tell, sir, my relative's ECG, please tell me what it is. No, I cannot tell so many times until and unless I get a proper history. This is the difficulty which we have. So it could be CVA. Sometimes it appears like LVH, sometimes it could be N-STEMI. So you should be able to differentiate all the three. Okay. And see, this is most important. ST segment depression. See, A and B are showing horizontal type of depression. This is the description which they give. C is a downsloping depression. Then where is the D? C and D are downsloping depressions. E is something like scooping type, like a scoop has been taken, ice cream scoop. Okay. F is a upsloping, like this it is. Then G is a flat upsloping. So this is a description. So what the most commonly is these two and this one goes more in favor of than this one. Marking I don't know. This goes more in favor of N-STEMI. This pattern goes more in favor of LVH bar, LV strain. Okay. Got it? See, so many patterns are there. It's very difficult to identify most of the time. Anand Hegde asked, so to conclude, we cannot differentiate between CVA, N-STEMI, LVH without clinical history. Yes, it is very difficult to identify without a clinical history. So many times you will be able to identify. See, LVH, LV strain you can identify because there will be associated left axis deviation, voltage criteria of more than 35 mmHg, everything will be matching. Okay. But if the patient is having a associated LVH or if the patient is having LV strain, then there is also possibility of associated getting N-STEMI. Because hypertension, diabetic, LV hypertrophy, LV remodeling is a risk factor for your myocardial infarction. So it is difficult sometimes if you don't give any clinical history. Sir, in LVH and CVA, will there be depression in limb leads? Not all the CVA will have this one. You remember, if there are 100 CVA cases, only 1 or 2 will be having the deep symmetrical T wave. Not all the CVA cases. Remember, if all the CVA had a deep T wave inversion, then somebody would have diagnosed the criteria to differentiate between the two. It is a only rare phenomena. In CVA, we get a deep symmetrical T wave inversion when there is a massive CVA, especially with subarachnoid hemorrhages, not with others. So it is not the usual finding I'm telling. It's an unusual finding, but you should be remembering. For example, what happens if the patient is having some amount of CVA, he comes to you and you get a ECG done. See, CVA, why it has occurred, it could be due to common risk factor. Diabetes, hypertension, stroke, your IHD, your renal disorders, all these are dyslipidemia is a spectrum of diseases. All are interrelated to each other. So whether the patient is also having associated MI or is it a change due to CVA only, that you should be able to differentiate. That's why ECG findings you should be familiar with. And as I told, it is very difficult to sometimes, not all the time, 99% of the time you can tell whether it is a CVA or it is a N-STEMI or it is a LVH and LV strain pattern. If the patient you do not give proper clinical history, then your diagnosis may go wrong. So many times you people just send the ECG and tell what is the diagnosis tell. We may tell something, but without a clinical history, I might have made this ECG into a this type of ECG. I can tell N-STEMI as a LVH. Is it possible or not? See these two, very similar pattern. Almost nearly the same, just that it is small, like it is more of a box, like it is slightly a flat box. That's it. So it's very difficult for some people to correctly identify until and unless you give a proper clinical history. This one you see, what is there here? This is a N-STEMI. This is classical. This is not going to be confused with your any LVH or something. This is classical of N-STEMI. See here. 2 AVF, you have a depression. Okay, but there is no associated elevation in 1 AVL. No elevations are there. So only depressions are there. Here also depressions are there. So all these depressions go for N STEMI. Can anyone tell what is this? You have one AVL slight depressions, 3 AVF slight elevation you can see. You have got full depressions here. Okay, this you can take inferior wall MI. This is reciprocal change which we have associated here. STEMI on the posterior, N STEMI bar, LVH like changes on your lateral leads. See, this appears more in favor of LVH like. You have got a left axis deviation here. You have got a LVH like sloping here. So these are the small confusions which you start getting once you don't get a clinical history of the patient. See here, this is one phenomena which is very deadly. If this patient comes to you, if you don't take the patient for immediate coronary percutaneous intervention, then it means patient is mostly the dead. See here, depression, 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 then you have depression, 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 depression. So majority waves have ST depressions, and you have AVR elevation. Okay, this is the most deadly combination. It will show that there is a proximal left coronary artery or main coronary artery occlusion. Main coronary artery is occluded. If there is something, we tell it as pan ST segment depression with AVR elevation. If this is there, then it is very deadly. So immediately you should take for the coronary intervention of the patient. Otherwise, eventually the occlusion will increase and everything will go for STEMI. 1, 2, 3, 4, V5, V6, V6, everything will go for ST elevation. This goes for ST depression and the patient will die. This is one more. See here. What you want to tell this as? N STEMI or LVH or RVH, what you want to tell? Anybody? LVH goes more in favor of LVH, not a N STEMI. Lastly, these are the charts which you have kept for in your examinations. Okay. How sir, somebody told, how sir means you should look for 50 ECGs. That's why I'm telling N STEMI and your LVH changes. There are no reciprocal changes here. N STEMI will have no reciprocal changes. This is N STEMI, no? N STEMI will never have reciprocal changes. Only STEMI will have reciprocal changes. Left axis deviation is present, huh? Not there. This is a, see here, 2, 3 are more having. That's why I'm telling you. It's very difficult sometimes to differentiate. But the pattern of ST depressions are going more in favor of LVH like it appears to be. See here, this is so much of V5, V6 are big one are there. This is also slightly bigger here. So I think LVH around 30 boxes it will come. Okay. So it is not very classical of your ST elevation. It could be N STEMI. I will not tell it is not there. So I want a clinical history for this until and unless I get a proper. If the patient tells chest pain, no, I'll go for N STEMI. Because 2, 3 AVF is having ST depressions. And one more thing which goes not in favor is if there was a LVH like hypertrophy strain is there, along with this I should have got 1 AVL ST depressions. It goes more in favor of LVH. But we have 2, 3 AVF here and this is here, this is not synchronizing here, right? V4, V5 is having ST depression, this is having ST depression, it could be N STEMI. I need a clinical history. Until then it is difficult for me also to tell. Rhythm abnormalities is your commonly asked charts question for your examination. We will not go much in detail like why and all. Too detail will not go. We will finish in short. See, this is your premature ventricle contractions. History of hypertension, can we say LVH? Yes, you can say. If the patient is having history of hypertension, you can label it as LVH. But still, I want the chest pain and all those history. So these are the premature ventricular contraction. These are the wide complex QRS. Okay, wide complex QRS are there. And after the, see here, this is the distance, this is the distance. Okay, as soon as this is occurring prematurely, you are having an increased gap between the two. So this is called as compensatory pause. Okay, as soon as you get a premature beat, there is an increased distance between the two beats, that is compensatory pause. This, you identify this as a premature ventricular contraction. This is more than enough for your exam charts. Okay, now coming to this one, this is your sinus. See, that all I told you, rhythm will not go much in detail. Pause for filling, yes, it is due to the absolute refractory period, it came into that and all. We will not go much in detail regarding the pause and all, because these are your few exam questions are there. We'll just finish it soon so that we'll discuss the charts also. See, this is sinus tachycardia. See, almost around 1.5 we have big boxes. Okay, the heart rate is around 100, like 125, like heart rate it is like, okay, 125, no, 175, I think, sorry, 175, like the heart rates they are having, and each is having a P wave. That is how you differentiate from sinus tachycardia from others. See, each of the QRS complex C is followed by a P wave here. Okay, QRS T, P, QRS T, P, QRS T. So each of them is having a followed by a P wave that is going in favor of your sinus tachycardia. Okay, this is a complex which, if you want to take the photo or screenshot, whatever it is a common definition for your tachycardias. Sinus tachycardia is more than 100, SVT is 200, atrial flutter 300, fibrillation 400. So this is the direct classification. If you want to take, this will be asked for your theory exams as well as practical. Wherever it is there, they will ask you. Now come to this one. See, this is also having tachycardia, but there is no P wave. This will go for AVRT or AVNRT. Sorry, AVNRT or AVRT. For this classification, we come here. Okay, this one is the SVT here. See, this one, sinus tachycardia, have a P wave here. Each QRS is having a P wave here. Okay, wherever you want, you can find. So each of them are having a P wave between QRS complex. This is also having tachycardia, but there is no P wave as such. But we have so many entity called here as pseudo P wave, pseudo R wave, and so many things are there, and inverted P wave. All these are characteristic of your AVRT and AVNRT. We don't want all these for UG levels. If there is no visible P wave is not seen properly, and there is tachycardia, and there is a narrow complex. Okay, small QRS complex is narrow. We'll take it as SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, AVRT or AVNRT, and we'll finish it off. Okay, this much is more than enough. See here, SVT during tachycardia, something I told you, pseudo P wave, pseudo R wave, R dash wave, and all. We don't want. Are you able to identify a P wave before QRS complex in this? No, I'm not able to identify anything properly in each of the wave. So see here, I'm not able to identify anything. So it goes more in favor of SVT. This also the same one. See, something we have one more entity called as multifocal atrial tachycardia, usually most probably seen in case of CV, COPD and asthma. If somebody asks which is the most common arrhythmia if a patient in COPD and asthma have, you should answer as MAT, multifocal atrial tachycardia. How do you diagnose this? Is here. At least 3 consecutive P waves of different size and shape with rate more than 100. See this P wave, see this P wave, see this P wave. So this is type A, this is type B, type C. Different shapes are there. Here different shape, here different shape, this is different shape, this is different shape. And there is variable rhythm. This is small, this is big, this is still big. So this will go for multifocal atrial tachycardia. Heart rate of more than 100 and 3 different types of P waves. Goes for MAT, multifocal atrial tachycardia. This is the same ECG only. This ECG only enhanced here. See here, different P wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. See here, the rate is varying, rhythm is varying. Okay, this is go for MAT, multifocal atrial tachycardia. But P waves will be there here of different shape and size. How do you differentiate now? MAT versus AF, atrial fibrillation. Here there are no P waves at all. P waves absent. See here also there is a varying intervals are there between two RR intervals. Okay, so many variations are there here. Okay, but there are no P waves. That is how you diagnose between. See, this also matter. See this last one. So much of variation of rhythm is there. See this one here also. So much of variation of rhythm is there. But there is absent P wave here. Here the P waves are present. Atrial flutter. Just remember that sawtooth appearance is there. And most of the time the RR interval will be fixed. Flutter, I think this much is more than enough. Flutter. This is also the same flutter only. The sawtooth appearance is there, no? Flutter. Atrial fibrillation. That only AF. Same. P waves are absent, and you are having varying rhythm is there. See this flutter. Fixed rhythm is there. Sawtooth like appearance, but it is fixed intervals are there. This is also appears like sawtooth, but see the variations are there. Small, big, small, big, small, big, like that. Okay. Then this is ventricular premature complexes in bigemini. This is also they ask you what is bigemini and trigemini. See here, one normal VPC, normal VPC, normal VPC. Each alternative is on VPC. This is called bigemini. Every third one is a VPC is trigemini. Normal, normal VPC. Normal like this. Normal, normal VPC. This is trigemini. We should look for P wave in any lead, sir. Actually, lead 1, V1, just lead V1 and lead 2 are most prominently and most commonly used. You can look in any lead. This is couplets. So they will come in couples. VPCs. Okay, this is called couplets. And if there are 3 VPCs coming together, then it diagnoses for VT, ventricular tachycardia. Ventricular tachycardia definition is 3 consecutive VTs are present, then you go for VT. See here, these 3 are there, no, this goes for VT. See again it's blocked, normal rhythm came. Again one VPC came, then again normal. See this is again you are having a VT, ventricular tachycardia is there. It again blocked, again 3 came, again blocked. So this is something ill-sustained VT. This is sustained VT. Continuously ventricular tachycardia is there. Because they are all of same morphology, you call it as monomorphic VT. This is something called as polymorphic VT. This is also VT, but the morphology is changing. This is also known as Torsades de Pointes. Torsades de Pointes. So this patient was having this Torsades. Patient was given shock. Now what is there in this? See here, there is inferior wall MI, 2-3 AVF with posterior depression. Here also there is elevation. So the patient was having MI. MI had precipitated the ventricular tachycardia, VT. How to remember everything for exams? I'll tell you exam charts how many are there. That much only if you remember, more than enough. You know MI, you know about tachycardias. This is also same. See here, polymorphic VT. Changing shape is there. This is V flutter. Just one image if you remember, that much is more than enough. You can even put it as VT if you got confused. You put as ventricular tachycardia also, no issue. Okay. This is also VT. This is the blocks chart is there. If you want to take screenshot, we will not discuss this at all because it's not much useful, and only one chart is there I think with exams. Type 1, type 2, type 3 blocks and all. I think complete heart block is more commonly asked, CHB. In complete heart block, what is there is the P and QRS complex are beating independently. See, this is the P wave which is coming. These are the QRS complexes which are beating independently. This is the only chart which you have in your exams which is more frequently asked. I think with this we'll end here, and only some charts are there. If you want, we'll finish all the charts fast, 15-20 minutes. We can finish them. I have one PDF with a chart with the answers. If you want, I'll send that. If you want to read yourself, or if you want me to discuss, we'll discuss now and finish it up. How you want to do, you tell me. We will not give chance to anyone to answer. I'll keep on answering whatever is there in the chat. Or if you want, means ready answer with answer charts are there, like the PDF. Your answer is already given. You just need to look at the answer and you have to finish it off. What you want to do?